it out that the sun shines down its power to all the world and makes the wind blow strong as it will. I wonder how gentle rains can fall upon the land, so lovely earth can stay lovely still. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 645th edition of Energy Week with me, George Harvey, and the amazing Nancy Wolf.
Oh, thank you.
This is a news aggregation show, and our news started on October 9th and was recorded up to October 15th. You know, it always bothers me that a week starts on an even day and ends on an even day, or it starts on an odd day and ends on an odd day, which is what happens when you've got an odd number.
Yeah, an odd number, yeah.
You know, but that thing of the odd numbers or the even numbers, that's something that really doesn't seem intuitively obvious to me. You know, I did.
Because if you put two odd numbers together, you get an even number.
Yeah. Why not? And, you know, there are things that are intuitively obvious to me. And I did amazingly well with mathematics when I was in high school, but that one is beyond my comprehension. Anyway, we are doing, this is news aggregation, and the news aggregation is based on items that have appeared at my blog, geoharvey.com, geoharvy.com. You can go to that site and find the things that we're talking about by clicking on the day of the month and then searching through 15 at the most articles to find the one you're looking for, and it has a link to the original, so you can actually see the original, or probably much easier, if you have a computer and you can scroll on the screen, you will find somewhere around where we are on the screen a link to tiny URL, Energy Week 645. This is the 645th edition of Energy Week, and I think I've said everything I need to say.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. And whoops. There we go. This, by the way, is a picture of wind turbines in the Netherlands, and the fields here are, I know it doesn't look like it because they're very young plants, but they're tulips.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tulips.
Tulips.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So this is from MSN, and the headline here is, as Trump champions fossil fuels, the world is betting on renewable energy.
Of course. You know, we've got a guy who's a genius as a businessman, so he's trying to sell the world what it doesn't want. And he's not enough of a genius, I don't think, to get the world to buy what he wants to sell. Anyway, even with clean energy roadblocks in the U.S., the world set a record for renewable energy investment over the first half of this year. Wind and solar power are meeting and even exceeding global rise in energy demand, displacing power generated by fossil fuels. And we will see this in a report later in the show that really tells the story. But other countries have used fossil fuels. They want something else, having had the experience, and Donald Trump is trying to sell them fossil fuels. And all things considered, I think they may turn against the United States out of spite, because people do that sometimes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Should we go on?
Let's go on.
Okay. We have this.
Yes, this.
This.
This is from Euronews. Unprecedented glacier melting will leave U.S. peaks ice-free for the first time, study finds.
The glacial melt in the Sierra Nevada mountains. What does Sierra Nevada mean? It means snowy mountains. Of California is unprecedented, according to a study. Mountain glaciers are a key feature of various U.S. national parks, But as the Earth warms, many of these ancient ice masses are melting rapidly. We have people who are saying this isn't happening.
Right. They may not be, their eyes may be closed. That's possible. If they think it's not happening and then they go up and climb a mountain and then they don't see any ice or snow, then maybe they might see it.
They're going to figure out a different explanation.
Right.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. I'm going to go on to the next thing, whatever it happens to be.
Let's go on.
And there it is. It's, whoops, where are we?
Yeah, that's
there.
There. Oh, yeah, there we are.
Wind power in the Hebei province.
Yeah. So this is from oilprice.com, how China took over the world's clean energy boom.
China's clean energy sector is doing brisk business with less developed economies, even as the United States retreats from the clean energy race. In fact, 51% of China's EV sales growth in the current year came from nations outside the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. China has been promising various countries that they could get nuclear reactors. And I think it's a bait and switch. A bait and switch is you bring somebody in because you've got an offer on something that's really good and you switch it to something else. Reminds me of a story of a man who was walking down the street and this is years ago, so you have to understand that it was years ago. He came across a sign in a fish store that said lobster, $3.49 a pound. So he went in and he said he wanted to buy some, and the man in the store said, "I'm sorry, we're sold out." So the man was dejected, and he started walking down the street again, and he came to another fish store, and he thought, well, maybe these guys have got lobster at a low price too. He went in and said, do you have lobster? And the guy said, yes. How much is it? $7.99 a pound. Well, I could get it for $3.49 at the store down there. And the salesman said, well, why don't you just go down there and buy it? He said, because they don't have any left. And the man in the store said, oh, we sell it for $3.49 when we don't have any left too. And I think what China is doing when it's promising people nuclear reactors is they're getting their attention so they can sell them solar.
Yeah.
I hope that's why.
That would be nice. Yeah, I prefer that.
Well, you take a country like Ghana, for example. How many nuclear reactors can Ghana afford to buy and have installed? And my answer to that is probably zero. And how many nuclear reactors are going to help with the climate problem? And none. It's not going to happen.
No.
I saw an article today about small modular reactors, and they were talking about building a factory for them, and they were going to be actually producing them in 2040. I'm sorry, that's too late to deal with the climate.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to see what happens. In the meantime, the United States is not offering anything in terms of renewable energy. We're not offering anything real to the world, and China is, and India is, and the EU is trying to get its own position taken care of. I don't know. Anyway, we're up to Friday, October 10th.
Yeah.
And we have a picture of solar power in India.
Yeah. So.
Oh, this is fun.
Yep. This is from PV Magazine India. Solar power during monsoons, busting the myth.
Solar panels typically experience only a 10 to 20% reduction in output during monsoons, not a complete shutdown. The reason is that modern panels, and I want to stress the word modern there, efficiently capture diffused light, converting scattered sunlight even on cloudy days. Solar power has value even during a monsoon. And I think the quality of solar panels has improved because in the old days, I think the sun had to be right on it. And today, that isn't.
I mean, look, we got that glass, that solar glass in New York, right? That building that's got solar glass. I mean, yeah. There's all sorts of technology updates.
I don't think you were here the day that I did a show. You might have been. But there was a greenhouse, behind it a second greenhouse. One of them had solar glass on the ceiling. The other one had regular glass. The two of them were treated identically, and the one with the solar glass, the vegetables growing under it were noticeably bigger. Mm-hmm. They were much bigger. They were doing, I don't remember the percentage of difference in weight, but it was like they were 45% heavier or something like that, under the glass that had been producing electricity from light going through, as opposed to being just glass. And that's what happens in one type of product after another, where you've got crops growing under solar panels, and you get more production of crops because the solar panels are there. So that is a way that modern farmers can actually make a living.
Mm-hmm. Almost agrivoltaic fun.
Absolutely. Okay, this picture coming up there reminds me of a painting. I think it's called The Trappers. People in a boat on the Mississippi River, in a canoe, and they've got piles of fur on the boat. Obviously a painting that was done probably during the 19th century. But
so this one's from Euronews.
Yes.
Record-breaking Amazon fires triggered as much CO2 as an entire country last year.
Yeah, this is kind of disheartening.
Yeah.
The Amazon rainforest went through its, quote, most devastating, end quote, forest fire season in over 2 decades, even in a trend to slow deforestation. Researchers say there were record carbon emissions and ecosystem degradation, exposing the region's growing ecological fragility. We're seeing ecological fragility more and more exposed in other places, and we will see that also again in this broadcast. I think it specifically relating to reefs.
I mean, when I think about the idea, this country enjoys disruption. When you disrupt too much, there are reactions to that disruption,
yes.
And it's not necessarily great.
Yes, and in fact, that's a serious problem. I think when you have chaos, if you think about chaos on a farm, it's weeds moving in. It's the equipment breaking down. Yeah. It's the cows getting anthrax. It's, whatever it is, it's not good. And that's what we've got right now in this country in the White House.
Yes.
So, we've got a let me put that differently. We have a government that is not interested in dealing with climate change, renewable energy, a whole bunch of things. And it's sad, partly because even if you don't believe that human beings are causing climate change, if you deal with climate change the way scientists say we should, you're going to be dealing with a large set of human health problems. People will
Yes.
live longer. People will live healthier lives. We have somewhere between 250 and 300 people dying in Vermont earlier than they should every year because our air is polluted.
Yeah.
Vermont's air is polluted. People move here because we've got clean air.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, the air is polluted and there isn't any fresh air east of the Mississippi River. It's all polluted. If you want clean air, go to Oregon or something.
Go out west.
Go out west. Yeah. Okay, moving on. And I'm going to have a diatribe to say about this too.
Oh, yeah.
Cornfield.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, this is from Clean Technica. In a contest between solar and ethanol, there is one clear winner.
I really got a kick out of this. But Solar United Neighbors, a community action group, says, quote, this is a community action group, in 2024, 43% of Indiana's corn went to ethanol production. That is 43% of the crop was not used to feed animals, was not used to feed human beings, was not used for any purpose other than to make ethanol,
Yep.
to be mixed into gasoline for cars so that we could. But solar is 20 times more efficient than ethanol, even when accounting for useful byproducts such as animal feed, and that is just for starters. What does that mean? It means that you get as much energy out of 5% of the amount of land if you're getting solar electricity than if you're getting ethanol. And in fact, producing ethanol, you wind up using in a fossil fuel equivalence, you wind up using more fossil fuels producing the ethanol than the ethanol will replace.
Yeah.
So it's a downhill battle. It doesn't work.
Sounds like nuclear.
Yes, it does. It sounds like nuclear. Nuclear is a way to make money.
Yes.
Corn ethanol is a way to make money. Coal, natural gas, ways to make money. That's what they are. And
Yes.
one of the problems with solar power is that it isn't a way to make money except for the person or family that owns it, which makes it about the most democratic source of electricity or energy we can possibly have. So, of course, people who make scads of money want to stop it.
Yep.
Now, I have something to say about corn. That
Yes,
stuff.
corn.
A lot of my childhood was spent in Illinois, 35 miles west of Chicago. And I lived in two towns and a city, Aurora, population shy of 70,000. But I was always close enough to the cornfields around that I could walk to them. And of course, if we went out of the city and in a car or something, we always went by cornfields. And we, in my childhood, I remember driving, and you'd see a farmhouse up ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and you would slow the car because you knew if there was a farmhouse out in these cornfields, there were chickens around that farmhouse, and they would cross the road right in front of you.
Yeah.
So you had to slow down. I'm accustomed to cornfields. I didn't particularly like cornfields in those days. I didn't hate cornfields. I was kind of neutral about them. But when Monsanto and MSG and all of that stuff came along, I found out a cornfield of an acre is a 1 acre, 6-inch deep, toxic waste dump. And the only thing that'll grow in it is corn. You don't have dandelions, you don't have weevils, you don't have... I don't know if you even have ants in a place like that. It's a dead piece of property except for the corn which was changed.
Yes. Yes.
The genetically altered corn would grow in this because it would grow in poison. That's why it's genetically altered, so it will grow in poison. Do you really want to eat corn that was grown in poison?
No, I don't want to eat anything grown in poison, by the way.
I will eat organically grown corn, but I will not eat corn products. And I'm talking about, there's a lot of stuff made from corn.
So much.
And I don't want to eat it. I don't eat corn muffins unless they're labeled organic. And that I think is kind of interesting, but we'll get into that another day. Okay. Yes. We have, let's see, we're up to Saturday, October 11th.
Oh, yep.
Solar power in Nevada.
Yeah. So this is from the Las Vegas Sun. Nevada solar energy project listed as canceled. Developer pledges to continue.
Okay. The Trump administration has fiercely opposed clean energy development. The Los Angeles Times found that the Department of Energy may terminate 300 additional projects. The 6,200 megawatt Esmeralda 7 solar project is one of them. This is a 6,200 megawatt project. This is going to be able to produce on a 24/7 basis as much electricity as a nuclear power plant, large nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
The people found out about this being canceled because the website just said canceled.
Wow, that's quite a way to find out.
Yeah. Now the news is confusing because the Esmeralda 7 project had 7 parts, each of which could be pursued independently, each of which was being pursued by a different owner.
Ah.
And they were just kind of agglomerated into a single thing.
Sounds like a Manhattan Project, no?
What?
Sounds like nuclear. I mean, it sounds like a Manhattan Project. It sounds like any national security thing.
Yeah, but this is, I was stunned by this. But of course, I was not anywhere near as stunned by that as I was by this next thing. Mm-hmm. This is a picture of a Navajo hogan. This is a recent hogan. You can tell that it's recent because it has real. It has lumber being used in the roof. It's got windows that are probably made in a factory somewhere.
Yep. So this is from the Cool Down.
Yeah.
And the headline here is Tribal Communities Devastated as Sudden Funding Cuts Thwart Plans for Accessible Electricity.
Drastic changes to federal policies relating to renewable energy hurt efforts to bring reliable electricity to remote rural areas, including tribal areas, according to NPR. Quote, it's a betrayal of government's trust and responsibility to tribes. Now, this is something that I think is very important. I was going to mention that to you.
Mm-hmm. You might want to adjust your mic if you put us.
Yes.
Yes.
The problem, when Donald Trump is asked about the value of Mar-a-Lago, he says he talks about his brand, and his brand adds $1 billion to the value.
Oh.
Here's the question: what is the U.S. brand worth? And what is it worth if the U.S. word is without value? The U.S. government said it was going to do something, and then, boom, it gets canceled. Mm-hmm. For what reason? Who knows? I mean, they said that they were shutting down what was the wind power plant because of security concerns. They didn't say what the security concerns were. Here,
Think about empire. I mean, they're just
look at that Hogan. People
Yeah.
live in that.
yeah.
That is a home to somebody. Why is it relevant? Because the people who live in there don't have electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to live without electricity? I mean, honestly, ask Donald Trump. Does he want to live without electricity?
No.
I don't think so.
No,
Would
I
you
don't
like
think
to
so.
live in this thing? He's making money. A couple dozen of his friends are making money.
Yeah.
And they're denying thousands, over 50,000 people in the western part of the United States who happen to be American Indians.
Yep.
Lots of other people too, but 50,000 American Indians. He's denying them electricity.
Yep.
And what is it for him? And what is it for the federal government? And what is it for, well, at the same time, you know, within days of this, I got word of two things. People who depend on food stamps won't get them anymore.
Yeah.
So what are they going to use to feed their children? If they were dependent on food stamps, they're going to be in trouble. And Donald Trump is giving the president of Argentina $20 billion. Why? I don't know.
I doubt he's going to spend it in America and help the like the thing about these things like food stamps or, you know, health care is that, you know, when people are not stressed about those things, they'll spend money. I know that they'll spend money and put it back into the economy.
Yes. And they might go out and get a job and make money for themselves so they don't need that anymore, which
Yep.
they can't do if their health is continually bad.
Yep.
I mean, we've got lots of reasons to try to help people. Mm-hmm. And I could go religious about this and talk about Christianity and Judaism. And
Yeah.
I mean, Islam requires people
Yes.
to
Take care of
the poor.
Yeah.
And these are not the only religions that do that. There's religions of all kinds. What is the religion that we're following? I can tell you what it is. It's called the worship of Mammon, which is translated into normal English as the religion of greed. Mm-hmm. Mammon isn't a deity. Mammon is just greed.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in the United States. This is utter violation of, well, anyway, I've gone on as far as I should and farther.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I
Lisa?
was going to say, I mean, all the protests of the No King's Day seems to jive with what you're talking about
I
here.
think No King's Day is
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow being Saturday. So I don't think anybody is going to see this show before tomorrow.
True.
So it's
Yeah.
we can hope that everybody who watches this show participates.
Yeah.
Okay, next, solar system. I'm behind schedule badly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is from Clean Technica. So IEA report claims fossil fuel imports have declined in more than 100 countries.
And we're trying to sell fossil fuels to the 100 countries.
Yes, because they don't have it, right? That's why they don't have it, because they don't have it. So we have to sell it to them. Oh, they don't.
The International Energy Agency has published its annual renewables report. It shows that more than 100 countries have cut their dependence on fossil fuel imports and saved hundreds of billions of dollars by continuing to invest in renewables. We are trying to sell fossil fuels. They want renewables, so we try to sell them fossil fuels,
Yes.
which they are
Not wanting.
not using. Okay, we're up to Sunday, October 12th, and we have a picture of the
Three Gorges Dam.
Three Gorges Dam. There it is. It's clear as day. Well, it's actually a little misty, but
Well, this is from Clean Technica.
yep.
As renewables in China surge, some questions are raised.
China built the Three Gorges Dam, the largest hydro project in its history, in 15 years. Took a little time to build it. Ending in 2006. Keith Bradshaw reports in the New York Times that China adds enough solar panels, this is just solar panels, to match the output of the Three Gorges Dam every 3 weeks. So every 3 weeks, China is producing as much solar panels in terms of the electrical output as that dam that took 15 years to build. That raises some questions, and I will mention briefly what they are. How to transmit power from Western China, where these renewable energy projects are being put in, to Eastern China, where 90% of the people live. And factories are mostly there. Public opinion is not an issue in China because people do as they're told.
Exactly.
But planning still has to be done. In the absence of competitive programs, it doesn't always go as promised. So they've got a mess on their hands in terms of transmission. They've got to straighten that out. That's been the case for years. But it boggles the mind that they're every 3 weeks they're putting in as much solar power as that dam produces that took 15 years to build. And they were so proud of it when it came out. Okay. Oh, here we have a photograph of the future.
Oh, yeah. So this is from Yahoo. The space solar power revolution is well underway.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
And when I see it, I won't say automatically that this is a good idea. As they seek to support a global green transition and accelerate the shift away from fossil fuels, scientists have discussed beaming solar power from space, but until now, it seemed to be a pipe dream. However, thanks to technological innovations, it may soon be possible. Just don't beam it on my house because it will melt. I don't know how they're going to do this. I think they're going to take the power and convert it into microwaves, and because that will go right through clouds.
This reminds me of the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So that was...
It reminds me of, what is it, 2001?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that too.
HAL 7000, HAL 2000, whatever it is, computer that bumps people off because it thinks that they're a danger to its mission. I'm not happy about this. I think, I don't know, maybe it'll save the world and I'm wrong.
I'm not really sure going to space saves the world. I mean, I know that might be a controversial thing to say, but I'm not quite sure that storing things in space is the solution.
Well, one thing that I will say that I think is a big factor in my thinking is that we have everything we need. We've got the solar panels, we've got the wind turbines, we've got the more kinds of batteries than you can shake a stick at. By the way, there's a really good edition of Veritasium, which is a show that you find on YouTube and probably elsewhere, about batteries and the danger of batteries. And the people there talk about the danger of lithium-ion batteries and compare them to, for example, lithium ferrophosphate batteries, which are available. And, you know, they talk about why lithium oxide ion batteries are dangerous, more dangerous than lithium ferrophosphate. Although lithium-ion batteries are a lot, in my opinion, a lot less dangerous than gasoline. And, you know, I have come across cars burning brilliantly on the side of an interstate highway or occupying the right-hand lane in the highway.
Yeah.
And they were not electric vehicles. They were gasoline-powered vehicles. And one of the problems was the gas tank ruptured, and when that happened, gasoline went aground, and the whole thing just went up. Yeah. Tires burn very effectively. So do a lot of other things. However, we should go on. Small agrivoltaics.
Yeah. So this is from Clean Technica. Small agrivoltaic project, big implications for the future of farming.
U.S. farmers are facing hard times and many are going bankrupt.
Yep.
A new agrivoltaic project in Virginia aims to show that a new energy crop of the 21st century, solar energy that is, can help provide a lifeline to farmers and local communities in these challenging times. I got to tell you, this article could have appeared anytime in the last several years. And my notes here say, quote, global biofuel production emit 16% more carbon dioxide than the fossil fuels they replace. That's not good. Why would we do that? Now, we heard earlier that 40% of the corn crop in Indiana was used for making biofuels.
Yeah.
And here we hear that it emits 16% more carbon dioxide than the fuel it replaced. And this is something that's been kind of known for years.
Yeah.
This is not shocking, but it is something to talk about. The organization Transportation and Environment explains this, and this article, agricultural crop is food. Here, the agricultural crop is for food. That is to say, on this farm, that farm, for human beings. So that, is a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is a fun one.
We are up to Monday, October 13th.
Yeah.
We have a picture of power lines.
Yes, this is from State Line. The West power grid could be stitched together if red and blue states buy in.
And red and blue states might buy in because the red states and the blue states, the states tend to agree more than the parts, the sides of the aisle in Congress. A regional energy market in the West could meet demands for 11 states, bolstering utility power plants plus surplus energy across the region. With the passage of a landmark new law in California, that market is finally on the way to becoming reality. So California leads, as it very often does. And I mean, we, here in Vermont, we follow California law about, for example, vehicles.
Right. They were the leader. They are the leader. They're the leader.
They got an agreement from the EPA that said they could have their own standards, higher standards than the U.S. standards.
Yep.
And if they did, other states would be allowed to adopt their standards. And Vermont did that. So I forget how many states have done that, but I think it's 13 or something. This is not, it's not trivial.
No, well, 13 colonies started this country.
Yeah, that's a good point. California is not trivial.
No.
But should we go on? I
think so. let's go on.
Okay, we have a picture of the Hatherden project.
Yeah. So this is from Renews. And Next Energy Capital powers up 60 megawatt Hatherden project.
NextEra Capital has energized its latest UK solar farm, the 60 megawatt Hatherden project, on behalf of its own NextEra UK 1, that is I, fund. This milestone marks the fund's total operation, takes the fund's total operation capacity to 380 megawatts, more than doubling the size of the portfolio in the last 12 months. And this is something that I think people should realize. Solar energy goes in so fast.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Here is a 60 megawatt system that was put in months. And there it is, operating. Anyway, you have anything to say on that?
No, just this a lot faster than nuclear, that's all.
It's a lot faster than...
A lot.
You start a nuclear plant today, I figured there's no way I'm going to live to see it come to fruition. No, I'm not going to live to be 110.
Oh, okay. All right then.
Yeah, and it could take 30 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we have a thing about, well, this is a picture of, this is relatively healthy coral that we see in the picture.
Well, this is from ABC.
Yes.
And the headline here is Tipping Point, Threshold Reached for World Coral Reefs.
The latest global tipping point report suggests world's coral reefs are at risk of mass dieback. Over 80% of the world's coral reefs were bleached by heat in the last 2 years. Countries worldwide will meet at COP30 in November to discuss reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
To discuss? Come on. Can we just do instead of continuing to discuss something that has been discussed for decades?
Well, this is COP30.
Yeah,
That's
like,
3
yeah,
decades.
3 decades. Can we just do the thing?
Yeah, and I don't know. I have hope that these coral reefs can be restored.
Yeah.
And there are certain specific scientific facts that I base those hopes on, but I don't think they will be until we reduce the heating of the ocean.
Yeah.
And that's going to take, we haven't even really reduced, we have reduced very slightly carbon emissions.
Right.
But we have to reduce them in a big way. We have to cut them in half before we'll even notice a difference. And if we don't do that, I think ultimately, if these coral reefs die, then everything that depends upon them dies.
Yes.
And that means maybe no really good seafood at all.
Yeah,
anymore.
biodiversity at that point.
Yeah. Okay. And you know, I like mussels and oysters.
Yeah, yes, I like them
that.
too.
Okay, we have a picture of a power plant. This is a coal-burning plant.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell that because they're at the base of the, if you look at the two striped red and white stacks, and you look at the base of the one on the right, you'll see a thing that inclines going upwards.
Yes.
And that is the delivery system for the coal.
I see.
And coal burning plants have those. It's one of the giveaways.
Well, so this is from Renew Economy.
Yes.
Gas and high coal penetration are the drivers of costly, volatile power prices.
This stunned me because people are complaining about renewable sources being costly and volatile. And it's not the renewable sources, it's this. And I'll
so it's
explain
holding on for dear, they're just holding on, gripping.
Analysis of price data in Australia's national energy market shows a strong link between the share of gas and coal generation and the wholesale electricity prices. When gas-fired generation exceeds 6%, or coal, there's not a lot of gas used in Australia, or coal meets over 55% of demand, there's a lot of coal used, prices rise significantly, and so does volatility. Now, the problem here, people don't understand. They think of baseload power as being stable. In a sense, it is. But you have to understand what baseload power is to know the meaning of that. If you look it up, you will find that the base load is the lowest demand load over a period of time. And in the power plant, it's going to be the lowest load that plant is supposed to meet during its lifetime. In other words, it's not the greatest load, it is the lowest load.
Yeah.
And anything above that has to be met by something else. You cannot operate a base load system without something in addition to base load. It can be load following plants, which cost extra. It can be peaker plants, which cost extra. It can be a lot of things. But probably the cheapest thing that you could put on a base load system to meet those changes in demands would be the battery they use for solar power.
Yeah, I was going to say battery, solar, something in that range.
Solar power and wind power with batteries can provide the same electricity, but they've got an exquisitely simple system for meeting changes in demand, which is batteries. Mm-hmm. Anyway, there we are.
Yep, there we are.
Now, next picture, and I want to explain this picture for just a second. This is a solar array that floats.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of engineers in the lower right quadrant of that. This thing, that gives you an idea of how big it is.
Yeah.
This thing is floating in water, which happens to be extremely still.
Yeah. This is from Fish Farming Expert.
What a magazine.
Chilean salmon farmer signs up for floating solar power supply.
Trusol, Chilean fish farmer, is to receive electricity generated from an on-site floating power solar power system after signing a 15-year supply deal with Alata, a company based in Norway. It's amazing how these other countries just deal with each other, you know?
Yeah.
Alata said agriculture companies can use solar power without need for upfront investments. So you call, if you're Trusol, you call up Alata and you say, I want this plant. And they'll not just put it in on say that you want it, but they will study the situation and figure out if it can work and stuff like that. But you don't put any money down, but you do pay them for the electricity that's produced. You pay less than you would for baseload power, for grid power, I should say.
Yeah.
Because in Chile, it's not really base load anymore. I think most of the electricity in Chile is renewable. Okay. A U.S. floating solar array, and this is from Clean Technica.
Oh, yeah. So the headline here is, a quiet floating solar revolution is bubbling up in U.S. waters.
Floating solar arrays require specialized racks and mooring systems. As demand rises, economies of scale kick in, helping to reduce costs. Ease of installation is a notable feature typical of floating solar systems. They don't require land to be used or leveled. And, the amount of water that we have available for this is impressive. And there it is. You want to say anything about that?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Let's go on. This is an interesting picture. We're up to Wednesday, October 15th.
Yeah, and this one is from ABC News. U.S. rejects bid to buy 167 million tons of coal on public lands for less than a penny per ton.
ABC News, by the way, is American Broadcast Company. I shorten to ABC, the Australian Broadcast Company. ABC News and ABC, as I put it out, are different. I try to explain that. Federal officials rejected a company's bid to acquire 167 million tons of coal on public lands in Montana for less than a penny per ton, in what would have been the biggest government coal sale in over a decade. Utilities are avoiding coal now. How in the world could you expect to have a bid higher than a penny a ton when the person who's bidding knows that nobody wants to buy it? I mean, really, this business of wanting to resurrect coal, it just means that somebody's dreaming.
It's like they're shorting stock or something. They're just...
Something, but they're doing it without any knowledge of what's actually going on. Shorting stock is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
Yes, very dangerous. We had a crash.
Yeah.
It's volatile.
Yeah, I know. And that I remember hearing a story that Joe Kennedy, the father of John Kennedy and so forth, heard a shoeshine boy talk to another shoeshine boy as he was getting his shoes shined. And they were talking about the stock market. And this one kid was telling the other kid that he had made thousands of dollars on the stock market. And Kennedy heard that and he thought, if that's the quality of traders we've got in the stock market, the stockholders in the stock market, then we're not being led by people who know what they're doing. I mean, this kid knows what he's made. What he doesn't know is the problems that he's got himself into doing that.
Yeah.
And the problem at that time, a large part of the problem was that the margin was 10%. So if you had $1,000, you could acquire $10,000 worth of stock with it. And if the stock went up 10% and you sold it, you would get $10,000 back in excess of the amount of money that you put in. And unfortunately, when the stock market went down, all it had to do was lose 10% and your investment was wiped out, and the stock, investor company, the company that you were using to do your investments, would call your stock in. And if you owed money on it, you owed money on it, but you could lose 100% or more than 100% of your investment literally overnight. And that's what happened, not just to these kids on the street, but to people who were putting serious amounts of money. Kennedy sold all his stock before the crash, and then he shorted stock. And then he went on vacation, so he couldn't be called to return the stock he shorted, because he wanted it to go down as low as possible before he bought it and sent it back. And, Anyway. Should I go on?
Yeah, let's go on.
Okay. Chuka Umuna. Chuka Umuna.
So this is from Clean Technica.
Yeah.
And the headline here is "Follow the Money. Savvy investors know renewables are the future."
This week, Chuka Unuma, and I probably pronounced that wrong, and I'm sorry that I did, but I didn't have a choice but to try to say something. The global head of sustainable solutions at J.P. Morgan told Tom McKenzie of Bloomberg Television that the U.S. will struggle to generate electricity it needs to power growth in its tech industry without including wind and solar. And I got news for you. He's right. I mean, if you want to put AI online, if you want to put cryptocurrency out or something like that, and you need a gigawatt of power in the next 2 years, you're not going to get that from nuclear.
No.
You're really not going to get it from gas. I mean, realistically, and you're certainly not going to get it from coal. These, if you go to FEMA, they have reports, and the reports talk about the amounts of various kinds of energy that they expect to be online in the next 3 years. And they have divide the coming additions to the grid between high and low, or high and other, high probability additions and other additions, or total additions actually. And additions for coal expected in the next 3 years, 0.
Yeah.
Nuclear power, 0. There's nobody expecting to put that on the grid. So where are you going to get your electricity from? Well, maybe from a new gas plant. I'm sorry, gas right now, new plants falling off a cliff.
Yep.
That's why 85-90% of American new American power generation is solar and wind. Now, if the administration wants to cut that out, then all it's doing is cutting out new electricity and putting a bind on electricity. And by the way, anybody watching this show who has a few dollars can save himself a lot of grief by putting solar power on his home, if he can do that, or getting into a community solar system, if that is available, and putting in backup, because I think the combination of the United States trying to kill new power systems from being built if they're renewable is producing a gap between what we can expect to have and what we are going to be seeing as demand. And that means I think we could have rolling blackouts in this country because we don't have the electricity to meet demand within the next 3 years. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I am wrong. But, I think there are ways to be safe. Okay, last piece.
Yep.
We have a wind farm and an item from Euronews.
Yeah. So the headline here is renewables are the world's biggest source of electricity. Is it enough to stop climate change?
Okay. Renewable electricity set records this year, but a report by the International Renewable Energy Agency, the COP30 Brazilian presidency, and the Global Renewables Alliance warns the world is still falling behind on its renewable energy and efficiency goals. If we really want to stop climate change, and I think if people really understood the status, they would be, they would want to do almost everything possible to stop climate change. I could see if I were the energy czar of the United States, I might say to the president and to Congress and to the cabinet, I think it's time to put a ban on new gas-burning cars.
Oh, that was what I was just about to say.
That was
on my mind because I was thinking about that story about how there's just not interest in new gas cars. There just isn't. People want, if they're going to buy a new car, they're going to buy a new electric car. It's such a smaller amount of people that are willing to buy a gas car.
By the way, I read today in the news the average cost of a new car in the United States has gone above $50,000. If you're going to buy a car, why would you buy a gas car, which costs
$50,000? Oh my God, no.
It costs more to maintain. It costs more to fuel. It costs more for everything that you want to do with it.
Yep.
And why would you do that?
The more expensive option. Why would you do the more expensive option? That's what I don't
More expensive in every way.
In every way, exactly.
Saving anything.
You're not saving money in any regard. Why would you want to pick the more expensive option?
Yeah. And if you are the kind of person who drives 30 miles a day or 50 miles a day, and you go visit your son's family in Pennsylvania once a year or something like that, get a car that doesn't have a big battery because it's going to be more expensive. You don't need that.
Nope.
And what you do is, when the time comes to visit your son, go by train. Or, if you must go by car, rent the car. You've got options.
Yep.
Anyway, we are this week suggesting that people have a gratifyingly consequential week, and we are over time, so we have to wave goodbye and say, hope you visit us next week.
Yes, come back. Come back.